what Intravision does very simply is takes any CT or MRI scan, or frankly, any imaging data set that's complex enough, which at this point is just CT and MRI. Nothing else has, ultrasound does not have enough data in it yet to do this. We run it through our program and it creates a three-dimensional image like you're seeing here. Obviously, what we see is important in this picture you're looking at. We're seeing obviously the bones, but we've also what's called segmented this CAT scan to show us what's the urinary collecting system. So this was just a timed CT to get a ureterogram, and then we picked these elements out of the CT in order to create the 3D model of just those components. We're not going to look at that one, but that's one of my particularly favorite models. If you take a moment, you can see the patient has bladder stones. You can see very clearly, you can see that there is actually a gap in the left ureter with retrograde filling from the bladder on the left, a lot of great detail. Let's go ahead to the video. So this is a video taken through the HoloLens of an actual model that was created. And obviously you can see it's a pair of lungs. And what I'm going to do is first we're just going to take a peek. Oops, there we go. It blinks sometimes. And this patient has a T4 lung cancer, which you're going to see in a moment. Around on the other side. So we're going to show you that how, and I apologize for the coloring, but you can see how now when I go inside, I can see that tumor mass extending into the parenchyma of the lung. The coloring is green for the tumor and blue for the normal lung tissue. Now that's not to say, now here, I think I'm doing a virtual bronchoscopy. So there's down the trachea, we're going into the right main stem here. And if I were to really keep going, what you can see is I can actually do a virtual bronchoscopy all the way to the tumor. See that we have bronchi extending all the way to the periphery. If we spent more time in the model, we could actually see every single branch of the bronchi going all the way out to the chest wall. So I like this model. It shows a lot of the advantages of this. I think the whole concept of virtual bronchoscopy has a tremendous future, but from the standpoint of surgical planning and preoperative assessment and getting informed consent to a patient, trying to explain to a patient what a T4 lung cancer is and what that means and why that's a problem. It doesn't take much more than looking at that image to understand, yeah, that's not supposed to be growing out of your chest wall like that. So I think it's going to make a tremendous difference in what we do.
Great, thank you. So on to the laparoscopy. Dr. Pearlstone, I'll let you speak to this. This is actually you in the video, so please keep in mind. And Dr. Pearlstone is a surgeon by trade and now CEO. We don't have any paid actors on our staff, but this will definitely get the message across. So I turn it over to you, Dr. Pearlstone.
Yeah, the point of this video, we were actually challenged by a company to remain nameless, that whether or not if we took these, a laparoscopy image, so the video feed off of a laparoscope, and if we fed that into one of these headset devices, would it be good enough to do the surgery? Our answer is absolutely yes. And so I'm going to demonstrate here. I am speaking, but it's kind of quiet. So what I'm going to do, we've made our little laparoscopy dummy setup here. This is an actual real cart with a 4K screen. And so here's my scope. We've got a rubber kidney inside a black box. And what I can see, and you can see fairly well, is that there's excellent visuals. The clarity is perfect. The lighting is perfect. It really is a really great view directly through the scope. Now, let's see how we can do the same thing by feeding that video image directly into the HoloLens. So now I don't have to look at that screen. I can hold my head in any position I want. I can bring this in close to me. And now we'll go ahead and move my scope around. And in my opinion, that's as good a view as I had on that 4K screen. Certainly good enough to do a laparoscopic nephrectomy. That is absolutely as good a visualization, I think, as you're going to need or frankly get from any kind of a system. But again, the advantage being I can put this image anywhere. And we can extend this to all sorts of devices. We can feed essentially any video feed into this headset, and you can have multiple feeds coming in at once. So you could have a laparoscopic feed coming in, you can have vital signs a feed coming in all at the same time. I think I timed that well. That's pretty much the end of the video. There you go.
Well done. Thank you.